Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns, World Health Month 2023 with the theme Health for All, and also India's G20 presidency in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India, Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our today's sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall look into today's commemorations. As already informed, today and tomorrow we are not having psychology conference sessions. So they will be resumed from Sunday onwards, as we are having 2 days conference today and tomorrow. So we have taken break these 2 days. So these 2 days, probably today we got time, we could close it in time. So we got some time. So we are conducting today webinar series sessions. And tomorrow, based on the availability, we will see if time permits, we'll conduct webinar series. Otherwise, we will resume back on Sunday. That is 30th. So these sessions will be as part of International Webinar Series, not as part of Psychology Conference. It is already mentioned. So just a reminder for you, and the registration link for this series have been shared in the chat box. So we request everyone to quickly register. It is mandatory for the certification. So let's see today's commemoration. So as we know, as usual, we are commemorating various international, national days every day. So today also we have few commemorations. Let's look each of this day. Today is World Day for Safety and Health at Work. And today is also World's Women's Wellness Day. And apart from that, we have many other commemorations. We'll start with the World Day for Safety and Health at Work. So this is initiated to promote and discuss the importance of having a safe and healthy work environment. Data shows the deaths have occurred as a result of work-related accidents, around 19% globally. The necessity and demand to fix this human issue is highlighted on the World Day for Safety and Health at Work. The need for the change and through plan of action for the well-being of every worker across the globe is vital. In 2003, the International Labour Organization, ILO, decided to dedicate and celebrate World Day for Safety and Health at Work. The ILO has always been an expert in contributing to a safer culture in the workplace. The ILO acknowledges the need of every stakeholder, including organizations, labor unions, governments, employers, and public health sectors, as vital keys to safeguarding and reaching true health and safety of every worker. So this day is commemorated every April 28. Every year seeks to encourage, support, and bolster the need to continuously create a safe and healthy culture to reduce work-related injuries, accidents, illness, and deaths for every worker and employee. So around 6,500 people die every day because of accidents that happen on the job as well as work-related diseases. So this is 2.3 million deaths in a year. This is where World Day for Safety and Health at Work comes in. So it is an opportunity to delve into the topic of participation and social dialogue, and also collaborate with participants and social partners to ensure the effectiveness of occupational safety and health processes, frameworks, and changes. With a successful understanding and commitment, implementation will be more steadfast and long-term appropriate. These sustainable solutions will be useful for all work organizations and their people. The hope for every workplace is an inclusive environment where every employee and worker feels comfortable raising concerns and suggestions with management. During the World Day for Safety and Health at Work, the ILO commemorates the day with detailed schedule of events, includes a presentation as well as reports. So the International Labour Organization, ILO, is created as part of Treaty of Versailles, which ends World War I. In 1919, the body to look into labor issues. An International Commemoration Day for the Dead and Injured Workers is formed worldwide by the trade movement in 1996, a day dedicated to remember injured workers. The Labour Organization 100th anniversary was celebrated in 2019, its centenary anniversary, and continues to improve work safety. And World Day for Safety and Health at Work is marked as a global webinar where such dialogue is highly encouraged, and the Workers' Event of the Year in 2022. So the World Day for Safety and Health at Work, as mentioned, was started in 2003. And a work safe, when we are talking about workplace safety, what does it include? Workplace safety includes program, consists of all the process, protocols, and guidance related to help regulated to help reduce the risks and injuries on site as well as the diseases. The global webinar will be held in the ILO headquarters in Geneva, but you can join through Zoom and YouTube. So you can visit the ILO YouTube channel. There you can find the proceedings of the day. And most people in the world today are either employees or employers. So any dialogue on this topic will create around the importance of safety of work. So ILO always sets up events to mark the day. So join in on set activities and play your part to create awareness. Or there are various events organized like us, even today we are commemorating. So you can join and share your observations and suggestions and learn about this day. And it is all about then applying what we have learned. You can implement amendments and executions under ILO and practice applicable safety measures in your workplace. So the ILO got involved with this commemoration as a request from the trade union movement, and it was started by International Labour Organization. And the International Commemoration Day for Dead and Injured Workers, as already mentioned, is initiated in 1996, is also observed today. So even better health and safety measures at work are needed to prevent the spread of the virus as COVID-19 changed the workplace. So this day has been observed for close to 20 plus years and it is still relevant in the workplace. The United Nations has a global plan of action called 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, a unified progress. There is so much to understand and tackle this topic with the safety and health at work. Identifying hazards that can cause injuries at work is a good place to start. We get to learn a lot. Unsafe workplaces are risky and therefore undesirable. Safety and health are a form of social justice that every employee deserves in their work environment. An employer has to ensure the work environment is safe. So this day reminds us to implement safe work practices. The International Labour Organization doesn't just teach us the importance of safe workplace, but also reinforces the need to apply safety measures in our day-to-day activities. A safe and healthy working environment is a fundamental principle and right to work. In June 2022, the International Labour Conference, ILC, decided to include a safe and healthy environment in the ILO's framework of fundamental principles and right at work. On 28th April 2023, the ILO celebrates this decision, bringing together experts and constituents to discuss the implications it has for the world of work, as well as how to practically implement these rights in the world of work. It also serves to present the findings of research on the implementation status of various provisions of the Fundamental Conventions, number 155 and number 187. In 2003, the International Labour Organization, ILO, began to observe World Day in order to stress the prevention of accidents and diseases at work, capitalizing on the ILO's traditional strengths of tripartism and social dialogue. The celebration is an integral part of the global strategy on occupational health and safety and health of the ILO, as documented in the conclusions of the International Labour Conference in June 2003. One of the main pillars of the global strategy is advocacy. The World Day for Safety and Health at Work is a significant tool to raise awareness of how to make work safe and healthy, and of the need to raise political profile of occupational safety and health. 28th April is also the International Commemoration Day for the dead and injured workers against organized worldwide by the trade union movement since 1996. The annual Day for Safety and Health at Work on April 28 promotes the prevention of occupational accidents and diseases globally. It is an awareness raising campaign intended to focus international attention on the magnitude of the problem and how promoting and creating a safety and health culture can help reduce the number of work related deaths and injuries. Each of us is responsible for stopping deaths and injuries on the job. As governments, we are responsible for providing the infrastructure, laws, and services necessary to ensure that workers remain employable and the enterprises flourish. This includes development of national policy and program and a system of inspection to enforce the compliance with ensuring that the work environment, occupational safety and health legislation and policy. As employers, we are responsible for ensuring the working environment is safe and healthy. As workers, we are also responsible to work safely and to protect ourselves and not to endanger others, to know our rights and to participate in the implementation of preventive measures. New and engaging emerging occupational risks may be caused by technical innovation or by social or organizational change, such as new technologies and production process, example, nanotechnology, biotechnology, new working conditions like higher workloads, work intensification from downsizing, poor conditions associated with migration for work, jobs in informal economy, and also emerging forms of employment like self-employment, outsourcing, temporary contracts. So this may be influenced by the changes in perceptions about the importance of such risk factors. Example, the effects of psychosocial factors on work-related stress. We have learned from the past crisis that the workplace can be of vital importance. To prevent controlled outbreaks, adequate safety and health measures at work can play a crucial role in containing the spread of the disease while protecting workers and society at large. Governments, employers, and workers all have a role to play in tackling COVID-19 crisis, and check their collaboration is key.
Around 2.9 million workers die annually due to occupational accidents and diseases. That's over 8,000 every day. Meanwhile, a further 402 million people suffer from non-fatal occupational injuries. The toll, in terms of personal tragedy, hardship, and economic loss, is enormous. In June 2022, the International Labour Organization took a historic step when it added the principle of a safe and healthy working environment to its fundamental principles and rights at work. This recognizes that every worker has the right to be protected from hazards and risks that can cause injury, disease, or death in the workplace. Here in the Asia and Pacific region, governments, employers, and trade unions are working alongside ILO to strengthen workplace safety and health. On this World Day for Safety and Health at Work, let us recognize the achievements and progress which have certainly been made in many areas. But let us also reflect on what still needs to be done. We all have a role to play to ensure that each and every worker goes home to their families healthy and uninjured.
मेरा नाम शफीक मसीह और मेरी उम्र 45 और मेरी उम्र मुझे सर 23 साल हो गए हैं सीवर का काम करते जब सीवर में उतरते हैं तो सबसे पहली बात अंदर डारी होता है कि नीचे उतरते हुए कोई चीज लग जाए, हाथ पे कोई चीज लग जाए, कट लग जाते हैं, ब्लेड लग जाते हैं, अंदर कांच की बोतलें हैं वो लग जाती हैं। जख्म तो लगना जो है ना सीवर के अंदर आम सी बात है। और सबसे बड़ा मेरा नाम शफीक मसीह है और मेरी उम्र 45 साल। मुझे सर 23 साल हो गए हैं सीवर का काम करते हुए। जब सीवर में उतरते हैं तो सबसे पहली बात को अंदर डर ही होता है कि नीचे उतरते हुए पाँव में कोई चीज़ लग जाए, हाथ में कोई चीज़ लग जाए, कट लग जाते हैं, ब्लेड लग जाते हैं, अंदर कांच की बोतलें हैं वो लग जाती हैं। ज़ख़म तो लगना जो है ना सीवर के अंदर आम सी बात है। और सबसे बड़ा डर जो है ना वो यही होता है कि शायद पता नहीं अब इसमें से मैंने बाहर निकलना है या नहीं निकलना। मुझे सर अपने काम के बारे में ना सबसे जो अच्छी चीज़ लगती है ना कि मेहनत करके खाना, हलाल की रोज़ी कमाना, खुद गंद में उतर के दूसरों को जो है ना वो सफाई देना, कोई आम काम नहीं। आप खुद तो जरासीम के अंदर हो लेकिन लोगों को जरासीम से पाक करते हैं आप। मैं समझता हूँ कि जिस तरह एक डॉक्टर जो है वो खुद जरासीम के अंदर जाकर दूसरों को बचाता है, हमारा भी ऐसा ही काम है। बेटे को पढ़ाना चाहता हूँ कि वो पढ़ लिख के कुछ बन जाए, कोई अच्छा इंसान बन जाए ताकि अपना फ्यूचर अच्छा करे। नहीं, मैं कभी भी नहीं चाहूँगा कि मेरा बेटा ये काम करे। उसकी सबसे बड़ी वजह यही है कि मुआशरा इज़्ज़त नहीं देता। मुआशरे से ये रिस्पेक्ट है कि आप इन लोगों को इज़्ज़त दें क्योंकि ये आपका डाला हुआ गांधी उठा रहे हैं।
Worldwide, workers continue to experience countless occupational injuries, diseases, and deaths, with profound impacts on the world of work. Governments, employers, and workers unanimously declared a safe and healthy working environment as a fundamental principle and right at work at the 2022 International Labour Conference, recognizing the Occupational Safety and Health Convention number 155 and the Promotional Framework for Occupational Safety and Health Convention number 187 as fundamental conventions. What does the inclusion of a safe and healthy working environment as a fundamental principle and right at work mean for governments, for workers and employers around the world?
It means an increased focus on the preventive work to prevent accidents, to prevent diseases, and to put greater focus on OSH work.
Consideramos que esto va a permitir, de alguna manera, visibilizar un problema tan importante como es la vida de los y las trabajadoras.
Workplaces will be safer for workers. Ultimately, workers will be able to have the right to refuse unsafe work and the right to be informed.
Means for us as employers enormous leverage to get more attention for occupational safety and health in practice, in reality, on the work floor.
What are the respective roles of governments, employers and workers for ensuring a safe and healthy working environment?
Le rôle du gouvernement est de travailler à ce que la sécurité et la santé deviennent une priorité et que les législations nationales, les politiques et programmes soient alignés sur les mêmes normes que les normes en matière de santé et sécurité promues comme principes et droits fondamentaux au travail.
We will try to build upon the good and best practices that we also can identify within our membership.
Ahora nos queda a nosotros una labor de lograr que los convenios fundamentales puedan ser ratificados en cada uno de nuestros países. Para ello necesitamos toda una figura de cabildeo, de reuniones en los consejos tripartitos de cada uno de nuestros países.
We have several role key. The first one is strengthening the tripartite commitment in knowledge, the occupational safety and health, and then also include OSH promotion, awareness, and we also enhancing the implementation of occupational safety and health management system.
What are the main challenges, opportunities, and priorities to respect, promote, and to realize a safe and healthy working environment?
Una de nuestras prioridades es avanzar en la prevención de muertes, de lesiones en el mundo de trabajo. Este esfuerzo a nivel mundial sí abonará a que nosotros podamos tener sistemas de salud enfocados en la prevención.
أتى هذا القرار لتفعيل دور كافة الجهات الحكومية الممثلة للدولة من خلال توحيد جهودها وتوحيد سياساتها بحيث تكون كافة هذه السياسات تدعم هدف واحد وهو حماية العاملين وتوفير بيئة العمل الآمنة والمريحة للعاملين.
We can also try to improve the occupational safety and health performance of smaller businesses, also in branches that are still lagging behind.
I think the priorities should be to reach out to those sectors and those companies where we have the biggest challenges.
We need to put it first because one death, one accident, one disease is too many. And, we cannot allow this to continue. We have to do better.
This is the beginning of a long journey that will require collaboration between governments, employers, workers, and beyond to ensure that all people in the world of work have the right to go to work and come back home alive, uninjured, and healthy.
So as an employer, as an employee, let's ensure that our workplaces are safer, healthier, and environment friendly. So with this, we shall end this commemoration today, and we'll move on to other commemoration of the day. Oh, sorry, my mic was muted. So hope by the figures you have understood. I will continue. So where are we now? Overview of the global implementation status of some key elements contained in the fundamental occupational safety and health conventions essential for the realization of a safe and healthy environment. Healthy working environment include existence of a national authority responsible for OSH, existence, whether we have to check whether we have national authority, any national authority responsible for occupational safety and health. We do have in India, and existence of national tri-party body on OSH. We do have inclusion of key provisions in the national legal framework. Yes, we do have protection against undue consequences for workers who remove themselves from dangerous work situations. Of course, we do have requirement to establish a joint OSH committee at the workplace level to promote cooperation between management, workers, and their representatives. Yeah, most of the hazardous industries do have this. Adoption of a national policy. Yes, we do have national policy as well. And development of a national program on OSH. Yeah, this is also there. Establishment of a national recording and notification system for occupational accidents and diseases. So this is what a bit doubtful, maybe subject to correction. I need to verify myself. But most of them are there. But how effectively these are working needs to be understood. So we'll verify that. Now it's each and everyone's duty to go through all this and find out whether we have these in our organizations or in our states. And let's explore further. And authority or a body responsible for occupational safety and health. Both conventions, as we already discussed, 155 and 187 requires the establishment of an authority or body responsible for occupational safety and health. So OSH bodies are usually charged with developing and implementing the national OSH policy, program and legislation in consultation with the most representative organizations of the employees and workers. So they may be responsible for the other elements of the national OSH system, like providing advice and information on OSH, funding or conducting research, and also implementation of OSH. So nearly all ILO member states have an authority or body responsible for OSH, including our country. 87% of OSH bodies are housed in the Ministry of Labor or a similar body. In the other cases, OSH bodies are housed in the Ministries of Social Affairs, Ministries of Health, or Ministries of Economic Development. And as per the Convention 187 requires ILO member state to set up, where appropriate, a national tripartite advisory body addressing OSH issues. So national tripartite OSH bodies are composed of government representatives and equal number of employees and workers organizations. Sometimes the tripartite composition can be extended to involve the representatives of additional institutions like occupational safety and health institutes. So tripartite OSH bodies may also be established at regional, local, or at a national levels, as well as the sectoral levels in each sector based on the type of industry, especially in hazardous industry, where the risk is more. When we look at the overview of member states with national tripartite body, we can see across the regions, all the regions in Americas, in American regions like Northern America, Central America, Caribbean, and South America. 74% of the states have this tripartite body. In Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, Eastern Africa, Western Africa, and Southern Africa. Among all the states in Africa, we have around 80% of the states are having this NTB. And in Europe and Central Asia, 94% of the states have NTB. In Northern Europe, Southern Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Central Asia, and Western Asia. And in Arab states, almost half of the Arab states have NTB. In Arab states, GCC, and Arab states, non-GCC, we can see the graph and the kind of percentage. Almost 55% of the states have this NTB. And in coming to Asia and Pacific, Eastern Asia, Southern Asia, and Pacific Islands, 67% of them are having NTB, including India. And when we look at certain examples, certain case studies from certain countries, let's take Mexico or Turkey. In Mexico, OSH National Advisory Committee is led by the Ministry of Labor and composed of an equal number of representatives from the government employees and the workers and workers' organizations. So complemented by federal tripartite bodies chaired by the head of the government of the federal district and also composed of tripartite representatives. In Turkey, it is in the form of OSH Council, which consists of Higher Advisory Board on developing policies and strategies on occupational safety and health, composed of representatives of government, workers, and employee organizations. Tripartite composition expanded to involve other non-governmental groups, example, engineering and medical associations, which have a role to play, and they are conducting meetings twice a year, biannual. So legal framework on occupational safety and health, a comprehensive prevention-based OSH legal framework is a necessary component of a national OSH system. OSH laws should be generally applicable to all branches of economic activity and all the workers, because every activity, economic activity, includes labor and workers. Key elements of the OSH legislation include principles of prevention, national infrastructure to govern OSH, continuous improvement of national OSH governance, and general outcome-based OSH duties for all relevant stakeholders. Workplace process to manage OSH, participative and collaborative and cooperative arrangements at the workplace, collaboration of undertakings, engaging in activities simultaneously at one workplace, the right for the workers to remove themselves from dangerous situations. Other key prerogatives of workers, OSH training, PPE, etc., and legally defined sanctions and sanctioning procedures. Without legal framework on OSH would not be legally binding, and protection against undue consequences for the workers who remove themselves from dangerous work situations. So Convention number 155 requires the national action to be taken to protect workers against undue consequences if they remove themselves from a work situation they have reasonable justification to believe presents an imminent and serious danger to their life and health. This right plays a vital role in preventing occupational accidents and diseases. 68% of the ILO member states protect workers from their undue consequences if they remove themselves from their dangerous situations. These include removal or suspension or a different kind of abuse or mistreatment to the employees who withdraw themselves, including any financial restraints on the employee. And 80% of the ILO member states that have ratified Convention number 155 recognize the workers' right to remove themselves from a dangerous work situation without undue consequences. So workers have the right to decide whether to perform that work or not assigned. So we can again see the overview of the member states with provisions in national legislation to remove to all the workers to remove themselves from dangerous situations without undue consequences. Here we can see in American states, it's 77% of the states have such national legislation. And in Africa, we have 54% of the states having national legislation. In Europe and Central Asia, 94% of the states have national legislation. In Arab states, 91% of the states have national legislation. And in Asia and the Pacific, 42% of the states have national legislation. So there is a requirement to establish a joint OSH committee at the workplace level. So Convention number 155 and 187 already, which we have looked at, promote cooperation at the workplace level between the management, workers, and their representatives. The accompanying recommendations, numbers 164 and 197, provide further detail on the establishment in the workflows of joint OSH committees and the designation of workers, OSH representatives. Joint OSH committees are a successful way to enable workers and employers to work together in a collaborative and coordinated way to address the OSH issues in the workplace. 73% of the ILO member states have provisions in the national legislation for the establishment of workplace joint OSH committees. 92% of high-income countries that have ratified Convention number 155 require the establishment of workplace joint OSH committees. So here we can see the overview of the member states with provisions in national legislation for the workplace OSH committees. Here we can see in American states, 74% of the states have this provision. And in Africa, 80% of the states have this provision for OSH committees in the national legislation. In Europe and Central Asia, we have 75% of the states having this kind of provision. And in Arab states, 55% of the Arab states have this provision. In Asia and the Pacific, 64% of the states have national legislation for the workplace and the provision for OSH committees in the national legislation. So the requirements to establish a joint OSH committee at the workplace level. Let's take two case studies. One is about Djibouti and other from Finland. Here we can see OSH committees must be created in all industrial enterprises, buildings, and public services with more than 50 workers, including with temporary contracts, whether they are permanent or temporary, or including also daily wage labor, where the establishment has more than 50 workers, they have to create an OSH committees as per the national legislation. And the committee should include the employer, the OSH responsible person, a workers representative, or two, when there are more than 150 employees, and the enterprise doctor or a nurse. The OSH committee must be convened by the employer at least 3 times a year in case of hazardous situations or following serious accident. When taking Finland, in Finland, workers in enterprises with more than 10 employees working regularly are entitled to elect an OSH representative. In enterprises with more than 20 employees working regularly, an OSH committee must be established for a period of 2 years at a time. So coming to national OSH policy, both OSH fundamental conventions number 155 and 187 require states to formulate, implement, and periodically review a national policy on the OSH in consultation with the most representative organizations of the employers and workers. According to the convention number 155, the aim of the policy shall be to prevent work-related accidents and diseases by minimizing so far as to reasonably practicable the risks in the working environment. Convention number 187 adds the promotion of basic principles such as assessing occupational risks or hazards, combating occupational risks or hazards at source, and developing a national preventive safety and health culture. This 47% of the ILO member states have a national OSH policy, and 26% of the low-income countries have a national OSH policy. So when looking at the overview of the member states with the national OSH policy, in American continent, we have 46% of the American states having national OSH policy. And in African subcontinent, we have 39% of the states having OSH policy. In European and Central Asia, we have 57% of the states having OSH policy at national level. And in Arab states, we have national OSH policy for 45% of the states. And in Asia and Pacific, we have 47% states with the national OSH policy. Now let's look at few case studies of countries having national OSH policy. We have El Salvador, country in which OSH policy was published in 2019. The key principles included in the policy were participation, universality, integration, equity, and equality, and non-discrimination. So the goal was to promoting OSH through the creation of a preventive OSH culture. So there are various axes defining definition of strategic axis like national regulatory framework for the OSH, roles and competencies in the implementation of the policy, continued education and training, OSH management systems, medical surveillance, health protection measures, and OSH information systems and research. So coming to Malaysia, OSH policy was launched in 2019, signed by the Prime Minister, and commitment of the OSH department to creating and maintaining a quality, safe, and healthy workplace free of hazards and risks is the department's responsibility. Focus on ensuring that all workers receive relevant information, directives, trainings, and supervision on how to perform tasks in a correct and equality manner without being exposed to risk to health. And let's look at another few case studies from Saudi Arabia and Zimbabwe. In Saudi Arabia, when we are looking at the national policy, it was adopted in 2021, and the definition of the key principles, the overall goal and detailed objectives of the policy, as well as the monitoring and performance indicators are defined, and commitment to the enhancement and development of OSH is also taken, and development of partnerships at the regional and international levels in the field of OSH is part of the policy. So coming to Zimbabwe, national OSH policy was adopted in 2014, aimed at reducing occupational accidents and diseases, and promotion of OSH through a tri-party approach, emphasis on workers' rights to fair and safe labor practices, to be informed on any OSH risks and their effects, and to be consulted consulted in the development of OSH measures. Areas of strategic focus includes OSH awareness, operational policies and standards, accreditation of OSH practitioners, compliance and enforcement, decent work, hazard identification and risk assessment, accident prevention and culture, and OSH education and training. And with Convention 187 requires members to formulate, implement, monitor, evaluate, and periodically review a national program on OSH in consultation with the most representative organizations of employers and as well as workers. So, as part of a national OSH program, and national OSH program refers to any national program that includes objectives to be achieved in a predetermined time frame, priorities and means of action formulated to improve occupational safety and health, and means to assess the progress. Countries have developed OSH programs as specific national strategies on OSH or as OSH plans integrated into broader programs. 34% of the ILO member states have a national OSH program, which is quite low. 8% of the low-income countries have a national OSH program, that's also quite low. 83% of the countries with an OSH program also has a national OSH policy. See, when there is a policy, we can have so many programs. So let's look at the overview of member states with a national OSH program. In American subcontinent, we have 31% of the states having national OSH program. And Africa, 24% of the states have this national OSH program. In Europe and Central Asia, 47% of the states have this OSH program. In Arab states, 18% of the states have national OSH program. In Asia and Pacific, 36% of the states have this national OSH program. So let's take few case studies of countries which have national OSH programs. Coming to Australia, the Work Health and Safety Strategy 2023 to 2033, the strategy contributes to the Australia's national vision, safe and healthy work for all, with the primary goal of reducing worker fatalities, injuries, and illness. The strategy defines key enablers, targets, actions, and system-wide shifts required to achieve the goal, and over the upcoming 10 years, over the decade. In Malta, strategic plan for OSH 2022 to 2027 for a 5-year plan. The plan defines 5 activity areas, includes legislation, compliance and enforcement, capacity building, communication of the benefits of OSH, action against existing and emerging risks, and evaluation of the effectiveness. For each area, desired outcomes, concrete objectives, and main deliverables are defined. So let's take up another 2 case studies from Bangladesh and Ecuador. In Bangladesh, National Plan of Action on OSH 2021 till 2030, a 10-year plan. The first ever national OSH program based on situational analysis and stakeholder consultations. So various aspects have been defined, including definition of strategic objectives with key activities and timeframes, including to improve the OSH regulatory and institutional frameworks, improve management of chemicals and hazardous substances, prevent occupational diseases, promote workers' participation and empowerment, promote OSH in SMEs, small medium enterprises, implement national surveillance system, promote international cooperation on OSH, and mobilize resources for the occupational safety and health. When coming to Ecuador, National Policy on Health at Work 2019 to 2025, so a 6-year strategy, a policy. The strategy underpins the shift from a curative to a preventive model. In the national health system, it contains key objectives related to health promotion and prevention of work accidents and diseases, social dialogue, creation of OSH tools to support productivity, development of practical solutions, knowledge, and evidence in the field of OSH and OSH improvements in the informal sector. These are part of the national policy. And national recording system, finally, we need to also record the incidences, accidents, and diseases, because that will help us to evaluate and assess how the program and policy is effective. So provision governing, recording and notification systems are outlined in both fundamental OSH conventions, number 155 and 187. The protocol of 2002 to convention number 155 was specifically adopted to promote the harmonization of recording and notification system. The collection and analysis of data of occupational accidents and diseases is essential for identifying their causes and detecting new hazards and emerging risks. This is a key to define priorities and also design effective preventive strategies on OSH at all levels. Underreporting of occupational diseases and injuries remains a global challenge, even where reporting and notification systems exist. 91% of ILO member states have established a system for the recording and notification of occupational injuries and diseases. 41% of the ILO member states with the recording have the system for recording notification system in place, provided data, and is also providing data to the ILO in the past 5 years. So finally, we have essential responsibility to ensure that people go to work and come home alive, uninjured and healthy. So this year on World Day for Health Safety and Health at Work, we can celebrate an important step towards this goal, the designation of a safe and healthy working environment as a fundamental principle and right at work. So thank you. So if you have any queries, observations on this entire commemoration or presentation, you can feel free to ask or share. You can raise your hand, you can use chat box. Or you can unmute yourself. Maybe anyone working with HR policies or HR departments, they might be aware, or anyone working in industries. Might be our Virendra Kumar ji might throw some light on latest. He is also an advocate and RTA resource person. Virendra Kumar ji, will it be possible for you to share your observation? Okay. So we'll move on to further commemorations. So today is also commemorated as World Women's Wellness Day. So this is celebrated annually on last Friday of April, which is 28th this year, and the ultimate guide to health and happiness. The first Women's Wellness and Self-Care Virtual Conference was held in 2021 from April 29 to 30, hosted by Diversity Women Media. The unprecedented challenges women face balancing their careers and their lives as mothers, wives, daughters, and friends will undoubtedly affect their physical and mental health. So Diversity Women Media is currently running a Wellness Wednesday series on health-related topics, including stress management, physical and mental well-being, sleep hygiene, nutrition, and mindfulness. Their audience comes from all over the world and is made up of every race, culture, and background. They are single or married, and they come together to share their stories and provide comfort to each other during hard times. So they joined the conversation seeking the hope that their wavering resilience needed. So this day in its virtual conference are extensions of Diversity Women Media Wellness Wednesdays, which provide information about self-care and other wellness issues. And it is a day of the year when women are encouraged to make themselves a priority and focus on their health and well-being. The virtual conference will allow women to interact with leaders, specialists, and other resources that will help them to evaluate their lives and positively impact women's wellness. They want to empower women with the knowledge they need to be happier and healthier, giving them the tools they need to succeed in all facets of their lives. Their metaphor for dealing with difficult people is put your mask on first. Flight attendants tell us when there is a trouble in the air. It shows that the importance of taking care of ourselves before we take care of others. So women tend to not to put their masks on first, leading to the health and wealth issues. Diversity Women Media wants to help women to be the best. They can be showing them how to put their needs first. This result will be happier mothers, wives, partners, employees, and people. So the word wellness was coined in 1950 by Albert Dunn, an American physician, created the word when he integrates the words well-being and fitness as wellness. The American Business Magazine features original articles about entrepreneurship, career development, technology, finance, health, and diversity issues as they relate to women in the business world, spotlighting success stories of business, and thus Diversity Women Media is founded in 2007. And Diversity Women Media officially declares the last Friday of every April World Women's Wellness Day, the ultimate guide to health and happiness, in February 2021. So the first Women's Wellness and Self-Care Virtual Conference is hosted by Diversity Women Media in April 29, 2021. So wellness visits, also called as annual exams or gynecological exams, are a routine part of healthcare for women, which helps to take care of women's health. And women's health encompasses many focus areas and specialties, including contraception and sexually transmitted infections, STIs, gynecology, and breast cancer. And according to the World Health Organization report, high blood pressure is the % risk factor for the death worldwide. It is associated with over 7.6 million deaths annually, or 13.5% of all deaths. So consider your well-being. Take stock of your overall health status, including physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual well-being. You may discover things about yourself that will help you to improve your overall quality of life. So let's look at the common health issues among women. The number one being cardiovascular disease is responsible for 1 out of every 4 deaths among American women. And according to CDC, breast cancer ranks as the second leading cause of cancer death after lung cancer among US women aged 20 to 54 years old. And women are more likely to suffer from chronic conditions such as heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes than men. And in 2016, 7% of the women reported being diagnosed with depression compared with 5% of the men. 1 in 4 Australian women report experiencing physical or sexual violence at some point, which is about 24%. This includes childhood abuse and partner violence, which amounts to 20%. So it is an opportunity for women everywhere to take charge of their health. It guides women into making healthy decisions such as exercise, diet, and stress management that will bring positive changes to lives. It also provides an opportunity for the governments and non-governmental organizations to partner with UN agencies to promote better care for mothers and children worldwide. It also teaches the idea that self-care is about self-preservation. So with this, we shall conclude this commemoration and let's move on to other commemoration for the day. Today we have Workers' Memorial Day. It is also related to safety, workplace safety, and it is observed, but this is only in US, but the other day is an international day. Though it started in US to raise awareness of the importance of workplace safety as well as commemorate all the workers who have lost their lives due to work-related illness and those whose lives has been put on hold due to injuries that have incurred while working. According to the figures, the number of people who get killed at work is higher than those who lose their lives to the wars and drug abuse combined. Labor unions around the world observe this day to remember their fallen heroes and heroines and discuss measures to ensure safety workplaces. Although it only became widely popular when the US first celebrated it on April 28, 1989, Workers' Memorial Day had been celebrated several years before then by Canada on the same day. Perhaps the unpopularity associated with Canada's first observation can be credited to the fact that it was celebrated under a different, albeit similar name. Regardless of who first observed it, though, the day was inspired by signing the Occupational Safety and Health Act into law in 1970 and the formation of OSHA on April 28, 1971. So in early years of the signing of the OSHA into law, the celebration of the Workers' Memorial Day was centered in North America. So this not only attained international recognition in the last parts of the 20th and beginning of the 21st centuries. In 1985, the Canadian Labour Congress pronounced April 28 as an annual day of remembrance, which is the anniversaries of Workers' Compensation Act signed as far back as 1914. Progressively, the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organization declared April 28th as Workers' Memorial Day to honor the thousands of people who have been injured or lost their lives on their jobs. The UK also followed the suit with their celebration in 1992. Since The adoption of holiday by the International Labour Organization, ILO, in 2001, many countries are now actively participating in observing it, with some deeming it fit to confer it is a public holiday status. Furthermore, to add value to the holiday or commemoration, from 1996, annual themes began to be assigned to each year's celebration of the day. So if you are working in an unsafe or potentially dangerous environment, get people to rally behind you and ask for a safer work environment from your employees. You just be a cause for a good change. Be it a close relative, friend, acquaintance, or a stranger, honor the memories of those fallen heroes and heroines who died in the cause of their works. Pay tributes to them or their loved ones. So with this, it is also similar. These three are closely related to each other. Today is also Occupational Safety and Health Day, as already mentioned, and also commemorates the Factory Inspectorate Act of 1883 in US, especially when coming to US background, and the 1842 Mines Act was enacted as a result of public outcry. The commission caused because of Royal Commission's findings on the working conditions for miners, which were published in 1840. So this is in context of US. Already we have looked at various aspects of this day. By 1850, inspectors were free to enter and inspect locations as they pleased. Both the first workers' compensation law and the first social insurance law in the Western world were signed by Otto I Bismarck in 1883 and 1884 respectively. So thus the Occupational Safety and Health Act was passed in the United States in 1970, and the Occupational Safety and Health Agency was created as a government agency in charge of workers' health and safety in 1971 in US. And also the OSHA Training Institute was established by OSHA in 1972. And also Occupational Safety and Health Day was established by the ILO in 2003. So this was, with respect to US. So today, we are also commemorating Save the Frogs Day, which is related to animals and environment. And it is an annual campaign to help raise awareness about the plight of the frog species worldwide. It encourages appreciation and a celebration of the amphibians' role in keeping nature in balance. Frogs are in danger of being wiped out, so it is up to us to make sure they continue to roam the earth happily. So let's spread the much needed awareness on this endangered species. So it is founded by Dr. Kerry Kringer of the Save the Frogs organization and created to promote education and conservation efforts for the little amphibians. Frogs have been part of the Earth's ecosystem since Triassic period and are found all over the world. Not only do they play an important role in keeping the global ecosystem in check, but they are an unmistakable part of the atmosphere, as their croaks add to the ambience of the nature and in some areas signal the beginnings of springtime. The little amphibians, of which are over 5,000 species, are fans of insects, such as mosquitoes, as they gobble them up voraciously to help keep their numbers at bay, which also ensures the health and comfort of human life. However, Like many animal species on the earth, frogs are also endangered. According to Dr. Krieger, the main threats frogs face today are habitat destruction, disease, pollution, pesticides, and climate change, all of which threaten to accelerate their extinction worldwide. Up to 914 frog species are currently endangered, while up to 200 species have already been declared extinct, and they are lost forever since the 1970s. Also, few regulations exist that prevent the transport of infected frogs, which can cause problems for unfamiliar environments and for those who use them as pets or food. During the commemoration of the folks at the Save the Frogs, as well as scientists in 58 countries, hold presentations and seminars at local schools, groups, and community centers to raise awareness of frog conservation, highlighting the threats they face and representing ways on how to contribute their conservation. Thus, Save the Frogs Day works to raise awareness about the dangers that frogs face in our own homes and highlight the consequence of a world without them. But most of us, get confused between frogs and toads. Despite looking similar, both species are different. The main difference is that toads can live on dry land for longer periods than frogs because of their makeup and need for their moist skin. Frogs typically require wet environments, and even color difference is there. And one of these species are poisonous as well, where the other is not. If you often hear croaking around your home, in the evening, frogs may have made your backyard their home. You can help them live a healthy life by creating a shallow pool for them to inhabit, creating small hiding places where near the bushes or small rocks, logs or brush, and also making sure that the water quality in your garden remains clean. Frogs have several defense mechanisms to keep them away from predators. Some of them include puffing their bodies and biting or urinating on them. Some species have skin that helps them hide from the predators, and many are born with poisonous skin. However, one thing they aren't born with is a defense against habitat destruction. That's where we come in to assist. So new species of frogs continue to be discovered to this day, with one of the most recent being Halin batrachium maspi, discovered in Ecuador in 2022, a new species of frog. Maybe it can also be the genetic mutation of a combination of species or, due to environment interaction. Maybe due to epigenetics. And Indonesia is the largest exporter of frog meat in the world, exporting more than 5,000 tons to various countries each year. And frogs drink water by absorbing it through their skin, as moisture is an essential part of their livelihood, thus quenching their thirst. The only continent where frogs aren't found is Antarctica, and almost every where they are found. A frog eyes are found at the top of their heads and allow them to see frontwards, sideways, and partially backward, making them very alert beings. Because frogs can live in confined regions in almost any type of environment, their abundance serves as an indicator of how livable an area is. Their sensitivity to pollution due to their moist skin can give telltale signs of environmental conditions that can help humans navigate and settle in certain areas. Hence, they are known as bioindicators. So we can see where the frogs are, living. So that area is a very good area for human habitats. And one of the most soothing sounds you can find outdoors, particularly at dusk or at dawn, or even at the nighttime, is the harmonious croaking of frogs. Sometimes it can be irritating as well. Their songs display nature coming to life, and without them, such atmospheres would never be the same. Of course, we do enjoy the rhythm, and at times also it can be so distracting and irritating. Today is also Biological Clock Day. So to raise awareness about the circadian rhythm and its impact on our sleep-wake cycle, body system, and the mood. So we practice segmented sleep in medieval times before the invention of the electric bulb, reduced sleeping hours to 6 hours. So the biological clock is linked with the circadian rhythm, a 24-cycle part of our internal clock that carries out essential functions and processes, such as the regulating the sleep-wake cycle. The circadian rhythms are connected to a master clock located in the brain that sends signals to regulate activity throughout the body. This master clock is influenced by environmental cues, allowing the circadian rhythms to work based on the day and night cycle. So sleep is very much part of the natural process as eating and breathing. Since the beginning of the human evolution, we always have needed sleep. And as we experience changes in the civilization, human sleeping patterns also changed, impacted the cultural shifts, migration, and technological advancements. Our understanding of how early humans sleep is limited, as there is no historical evidence of early hunter-gatherer and agricultural societies. However, by observing hunter-gatherers groups in Tanzania, Bolivia, and Namibia, researchers discovered that early human beings only slept for about 6.25 hours and rarely woke up during the night. This sleeping pattern changed when the humans migrated to Europe, where they experienced longer nights, leading to segmented rest. The earlier reference to the segmented sleeping patterns were in Homer's The Odyssey, dating back to 725 BC to 675 BC. And this practice continued into the Renaissance. During the period between the first and second sleep, people socialize quietly, pray, do chores, visit friends, and so on. The sleeping pattern was most revered during the Middle Ages and Renaissance. However, all this changed in the 19th century, at the peak of Industrial Revolution. In 1839, Thomas Edison invented the incandescent light bulb, which led to more extended work days and a permanent end to segmented rest. Today, people are back to placing reverence on sleep because its numerous health benefits and impact on productivity. Corporate business people are now using sleep as one of their tools to increase productivity, using periods between meetings and business travels to get a needed power nap. So, for all, the biological clock is same, but yes, it is possible to change your biological clock. First, you need to understand your sleep-wake cycle, set a sleep schedule, and gradually move on your bedtime. Exercising, avoiding alcohol and caffeine, tobacco consumption in the evening, and limiting screen time can help you change your biological clock. And the biological clock, circadian rhythm, is a 24-hour cycle affected by light or darkness. It controls our sleep-wake cycle, body temperature, and hormonal production. Our biological clock is relatively accurate. If exposed entirely to darkness, it will only lose or gain a few minutes. So each person has their own internal clock that governs their body functions Understanding your biological clock can help boost your overall health, prevent weight gain, and improve productivity. You can also learn about your biological clock by observing your daily routine or taking the time signature test. The latter requires 2 blood tests spaced between 10 and 12 hours apart. Check your local clinic if a test is available. Sleep offers a world of benefits when given the proper priority. So pushing it down to the least important section of your schedule could lead to drastic implications for your health and relationship. So 1/3 goes to the sleeping, as we humans spend on an average of 1/3 of our life sleeping. And according to the research, many people dreamt in black and white before introduction of color television. So dreams also come in black and white. And within 5 minutes of waking up, we forget about 90% of what we dreamt about. So dreams also doesn't last. Sometimes doesn't last even long or forever. Some dreams also we still remember. There is also always an exception, but not always. Losing sleep can kill you faster, and food deprivation. So sleep deprivation kills. You can see if you don't sleep one whole night, and you can imagine the next day how it would be. And lose sleep, feel more pain. According to a study, cutting down your sleeping hours can reduce your pain threshold. So the biological clock is vital to our health, overall health, also known as circadian rhythm, helps regulate the body's process, functions such as sleep-wake-up cycle, heart rate, metabolism, body temperature, and hormone levels. A disruption to the circadian rhythms can lead to weight gain, insomnia, poor mental health, and reduced productivity. And sleep deprivation can lead to issues such as depression and a reduction in our ability to control our emotions and behaviors. Giving sleep a priority in your day-to-day lives can help you build better, healthy relationships and improve your interaction with others. Today is also commemorated as Undiagnosed Children's Awareness Day, which is aimed at raising awareness of undiagnosed genetic diseases present in the children. Approximately 6,000 children in the United Kingdom are born with a syndrome without a name, a genetic disorder so uncommon that is likely to go misdiagnosed. Children who aren't diagnosed end up having a lot of medical appointments and tests carried out, leaving their parents concerned that they won't get the help they need. Children have untreated ailments since their symptoms don't easily resemble those of common or previously identified illness. Doctors are limited in diagnosing and treating them. As a result, half of the children in some clinics go undiagnosed. As the quest for the fundamental cause continues, many of these families characterize their experience as diagnostic odyssey, going from doctor to doctor or hospital to hospital, doing doctor shopping. Approximately 6,000 children in the United Kingdom are born each year with an unnamed syndrome. Undiagnosed children have a lot of medical appointments, and their parents may be worried they won't get the help they need. SWAN, in short known for Syndromes Without a Name, a charitable organization dedicated to providing a support network for the families with undiagnosed children, launched the Undiagnosed Children Awareness Day campaign. The charity Genetic Alliance UK manages SWAN. So Genetic Alliance UK began in 1989 as the Genetic Interest Group when a group of about 12 charities sought an alliance with the British Clinical Genetic Society support. By 1993, the organization has joined the European Alliance of Genetic Support Groups as a founding member, EAGS. By 2010, the Genetic Interest Group has decided to modify its name and logo to more accurately reflect this mission. SWAN UK was revived the next year as an initiative of Genetic Alliance UK to continue aiding families of children with a syndrome without a name, taking over the Liz Wigwood, the grandmother of a kid with an unexplained hereditary illness. According to SWAN, 1 out of 20 children is born with a genetic abnormality. 60% of the children with genetic abnormalities will never be diagnosed. Some children with an unnamed syndrome may be regarded as having a global developmental delay. Children with SWAN may experience a variety of medical issues, including epilepsy. Some children are physically disabled but do not have learning impairments, whereas others are physically fine but have learning disabilities. So with this, we shall conclude the commemorations for the day. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I'll quickly fill up the feedback form. Feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. You can see International Webinar Series overall feedback form. You can quickly fill up the feedback form. And thank you, everyone. See you all tomorrow. If possible, if time permits, otherwise, see you all on day after tomorrow, that is Sunday at 11 o'clock. So on Sunday, we have psychology conference On Sunday, we have two sessions additionally, that is morning session and also afternoon session, along with evening session. Evening sessions are routine for 1 week, but on Sunday, we are having additional session in the morning.